A very good morning to all the participants on this virtual platform. I am Meera Edna Coelho, Associate Professor in English and the Student Welfare Officer of Besant Women's College, the coordinator of this webinar. The ongoing second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic has wreaked havoc all over and has once again forced us into lockdown. We at Besant Women's College grabbed this opportunity to associate ourselves with Skilling India and an IIM alumni venture to organize this stress buster workshop in order to help the student community in particular amidst this pandemic to overcome examination stress and negativity that is taking a toll on their minds. Let us be resilient and together fight the challenges that we are going through. We shall now begin with a minute's silence and pray for the Almighty's blessings on each of us here. We also pray for those suffering from COVID and for the souls of those who have succumbed to it. Let's observe a minute's silence. I now request, on behalf of the principal, the management, the principal, the correspondent, the staff and students of Besant Women's College, I extend a warm and hearty welcome to all the participants on this virtual platform. I now take this privilege of welcoming our resource person. The young dynamic Deepika Minj has completed her master's in social work from the prestigious Loyola College, Chennai. She is certified in psychotherapy, recognized by the prestigious Jadavpur University, Kolkata. Having worked with various NGOs in Chennai and Kolkata, she has a rich experience of working with diverse groups of people. She has also worked in Vellore Institute of Technology as a student counselor and has helped students with their social and emotional well-being. Welcome, Deepika. And I request you to kindly take over. Participants, you're requested to switch off your video and audio. All your questions will be taken up by the resource person at the end of the session. Remember to fill the feedback form if you want your e-certificate to be generated. Thank you. Over to you, Deepika.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'll just turn off my video so that you know who is taking the workshop.
A very good morning, Deepika.
A very good morning, ma'am. So I hope you all are
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I hope everyone is doing good. And in this time of uncertainty, we don't exactly know when we are going to have exams or how, are we going to conduct or give exams. But nevertheless, sometime or the later we have to give exams, yeah. So through the workshop, I'll just tell you the causes, or we'll go through the exam stress, what causes a stress, how it affects the body, mind, and the ways to cope with it. So to start off with the workshop, I'll just switch off my video and we'll go ahead. And since we are not, unmuting ourselves, so I would request everyone to be very active, on the chat box, and we can have an interactive session. So looking forward for a good takeaway session. Thank you. Okay. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay. So is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So as I've told you that we would want to have a very interactive session. So looking forward for your participation. So starting off with the workshop, what do we see in the first slide? Is it's human who has a lot of things, y- too much things to you know take control of. So this is something which is similar to what happens when we face or when we are nearing to exams. Like we get so much overburdened and overwhelmed with our subjects, and there's so much. Usha ma'am, am I audible now? Hello.
You are audible, Deepika.
No, there was okay. Yes. So yeah, during exams we get so fixated with our subjects, with our studies. We don't know what to study and what not to study, when to study and when not to study, and then we lose track of eating. We lose track of keeping in touch with our friends, our families. Our sleep pattern gets disturbed. So all these things happens pre our exams. So why do we have all these things? So all these things takes place because we are too much stressed out because of exams, and then we are not able to regulate it well. So through the workshop I'll just take you along to show how we can regulate the stress. Okay. Okay, so what is stress? Students, can I hear some answers from you? Concentration versus macro environment challenges and solutions. Yeah. Some more? See, there's no right or wrong answer, yeah? So until and unless we put forward what we think, we don't know whether it's a right or a wrong answer. So please don't hesitate. Destabilization. Yeah, true. Any more answers? Can we have a little more of interaction and sharing? Because knowledge is with everyone. We just need to share to know that whether it's physical tension. Yes.
Stress is a feeling of emotion.
Yes. So, when do we have this stress is like when we have a pressure which is, more than the resources we have. For example, like the expectations we have from ourselves, or our parents have expectations from ourselves, and that we don't have enough time to study, or we do not have enough time to, prepare for exams, or do not have enough resources to study. So that's when we get stressed. So stress is all about, when the pressure is way too much than the resources which we have. So Riddhi said stress is a feeling of tension and or emotion. Yes, thank you Riddhi for your answer. So stress is all about that. So why do you think like stress is a good, or do you think we should have stress? Okay, you think we should. Riddhi says we should not have stress. Okay. Is there anyone in the room who thinks similar to Riddhi or something different? Is stress actually needed for ourselves? Yes, necessary to some extent. Okay, there are some positive stress, Ranjini. Thank you for your answers. So, we all can see this graph on the screen. So, what do we get to know from this graph? So, we have this good stress, there are some, distress, and and at times we have stress which is very much required. So when the stress is way too much for ourselves, then we are not being able to perform well. We get anxious, we get worried, we have this tension, and then what we do is we try to run away from the stress. For example, if a subject like maths, if we have exams on maths and I have I'm not really good with maths, so that subject will cause me a really good stress. Like it will distress me because it will not even motivate me to study, because I have a lot of pressure on myself, and then I don't have resources because math is not something which I was very comfortable with during school days. So that used to be my distressing mode. That would not even motivate me, rather it would make me anxious, it would make me disorganized, I would feel overwhelmed. And then there is some stress which is called good stress, which motivates us to study more, which motivates us to prepare well for exams and to be focused in a subject. And then, so the do you think you all have a good stress, or do you think you have a bad stress before exams? Students, do you think you have a good stress or a bad stress before exams? Your personal experience. Both. It depends on which subject. Bad. Okay, true. And some more. Riddhi seems to be very active. And then since there are 100 participants, I see very less responses. Come on, people. Can I see some more response? If we study, then it's a good stress. If not, then bad stress. Yeah. And thank you, Roshni. So when we don't have stress, you know what happens when we don't have stress at all? We feel lethargic. We don't even feel like studying. We'll feel like we take the subject for granted. We don't even feel motivated to study. So some amount of stress is actually very, essential to keep us motivated, focused, and to prepare well. So that was all about, good stress and bad stress. I'm really sorry for this technical issues. Okay, okay. Okay, so what causes stress? So I have stated here like 9 points. So do you think you feel some of these are the reasons for your stress? Because for me, if I have to say, it's thank you, Meera ma'am, for your response. Like for me, it is like if I have stress, it is more because of number 3 point, where there is so much to do and very less time. And then number 5, where the anxiety affects my performance. And at times, especially during for the subject of maths, it was number 8, which was I was unable to connect with the subject. So students, can I know what are the causes which you faced? You can just type the number, or if point 9, somehow forget what to write in the exam. Yeah. And then if you have something, apart from this 9 points, if you can even share that. 8 and 9, unable to connect to subject, and I forget what to write in the exams. 8, unable to connect with the subject. Expectations. 1 and 8. Yeah, thank you. Forget the subject. Yeah. So most of us, we have this issue of, thinking that what if we forget what to write in the exams? So at times it's the stress which causes us to think otherwise. Fifth and ninth. Fifth is anxiety affects my performance. Yes. So all this is what stress does to us. So now we'll see like how to know what causes stress. So are we aware like when we have stress, do we know what happens to our body? Or does your body communicate it to you like, okay, see, like Deepika, you are in stress because you are sweating, like, you are your heart is beating very fast. So does your body communicate in the same way when you're under stress? Okay, what is it? Yes, yes. So I'm happy to know that you at least are aware that your body communicates to you. And how nervousness. Yes. Some more, please. Can we be specific of what kind of awareness we have? Headache, nervous, feeling thirsty, right? Improper sleep, nail biting, butterfly in stomach. Yes. So our body, body starts getting cold. Very true. Our body, like every individual have their own way, or their body, responds or communicates to them in their own way to say that, we are under stress. So now we are going to see what like, slight fever and vomiting. Yeah, we feel nauseous. So this is what it is. So we know that we are stressed because then we are scared and we doubt like whether we'll be able to pass in the exams, or how will are we going to write exams, will we forget what we have to write. So this is what happens, and then we get irritated by every minute little things, even at home. Like if your siblings even talk to you, you just feel like shouting at them or yelling at them. Or if your parents come or they even ask you to eat food, especially before exams, since we are in too much of tension and worried, we also like shout at them saying like, no, I'm not interested in eating, I don't want to eat. So we get irritable. We also get sad, thinking that whether we'll be able to do well, or brooding over things like maybe we are not good enough to even write the exams. And like someone said, you have dry mouth, you feel thirsty, and then your heart starts beating very fast. And at times many people they experience indigestion, which can be constipation or loose motion, and they don't some people they don't feel like even eating, and others there are others who also feel like binge eating. So these are the different ways in which a body communicates to us saying that you are under stress. But now since the body has communicated to us that we are under stress, what are we going to do? Oxygen reaction, yeah. So when we know our body is under stress, we try to cope with it, yeah. So do we think that whatever we use to cope, whatever mechanism or whatever activity we do, is it a good coping mechanism, or a healthy, or is it an unhealthy one? So here there are like two sections saying we either when we like don't deal with our stress, and when we try to run away with it, or we try to engage in some activities which not really addresses our stress, is something unhealthy, because in that way we are just trying to run away and not try to confront with it. So until and unless we confront with the stress, we'll not be able to overcome a stress or deal with it. So what are the healthy ways you can cope with your stress? It can be like you give your required time for the studies, and then you keep away your distractions. First you notice what distracts you, and then keep those aside, especially when you're trying to study. And what you can do is after you have fixed a proper time to study, you can also have some time to connect with your friends or family, so that it balances your studies with your social life. And also we need to remember that we need to keep our body very active. It can be through eating well, it can be through physical exercise. And like I said now, before exams or during exams, we have this issue of sleepless nights. We get too worried, tension, it disturbs our sleep. So we also need to maintain a good sleeping cycle. So these are the healthy ways of coping with the exams. So is there anyone in the room who has unhealthy or a healthy coping styles? And did you know that it was an unhealthy one? Timetable, human relation, reshaping tasks and goals. Yes, that is very true. That would really help for a healthy coping mechanism. So if you are watching too much of TV series, or not talking to your friends, or overeating or sleeping too much, remind yourself that those are unhealthy. And then we can also turn those unhealthy to unhealthy one by limiting ourselves from indulging in those unhealthy activities. So you can ask this following question to see whether how much the stress is affecting you. Like, is there something that I feel in my body? So if you are aware, you'll be able to know that, yeah, you are under stress. Or are you thinking in a way which is harming you, or disturbing you, or preventing you to study well for your exams? Or is there anything that you're not being able to concentrate in your study? Or are you trying to procrastinate things? So you can just question this to find whether you are stressed or not. And now I'll take you through the skills and ways in which we can distress ourselves. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes stress becomes reminder to do work. Yeah, very true, sir. Riddhi Rai says, do what you like, do something, do some drawing. Yeah, but yeah. So we can do things which we like, but to a certain extent. We should not, give so much time to that we distract ourselves from our main goal. Is there anyone else except Riddhi? Okay, so what are the skills and approaches? What do you do when you are stressed? Can I hear from you before I, go ahead with what I have to share with you? What are the skills you use to distress yourself? Spirituality counters some stress deeper level. Oh, that's really deep, sir. Can I have some more answers, please? Meditation. Great. Some more, drinking water, yoga, go for a walk. Good. Some more, please. Listening to music. Listening to music. Yes. Same here. Exercise. Feel relaxed minded. Thinking and owning responsibility. Oh, that's really great. Spending time with family. Music. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your answers. Now let's see what is in store for you all. Yeah. So since you all have all responded to what calms you or what helps you relax, we'll move forward. Okay. So we all know that we all breathe every now and then. But have any one of you here know that breathing, we can use this breathing to relax our body and mind? Or have you all tried? Keep aside the stress causing component. Oh, so Shilpa has tried. Great. Has anyone else tried? Oh, great. So should I take up this breathing exercise or can I move forward to the other one? Because it seems like, yes, deep breathing helps a lot. So do everyone here want to try a breathing exercise? Okay, for those who don't like, who haven't tried the breathing exercise, we can do it right now. Yes. So this is a very simple thing, simple exercise. So all that we need to do is, yes, inhaling oxygen is essential. Yes, very true, sir. So for a moment, can everyone just sit back and make yourself comfortable and sit in a relaxing position, yeah? And once you are seated, in a relaxed position, just text in the chat box so that I know when to continue. Done. Okay. So now since we are seated in a relaxed position, uh, can we slightly gently close our eyes? Yeah, so we can have this chat box later. Now we can start off with our exercise. So gently close your eyes and try taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. So I'll count four, and in four, with my four counts, you try to inhale, then pause for four counts, and then exhale. So let's inhale. Deep breath in. One, two, three, four. Pause. One, two, three, four. Exhale. One, two, three, four. Once again. Inhale. One, two, three, four. Pause. One, two, three, four. Exhale. One, two, three, four. Now you all can gently open your eyes. So was this breathing exercise something different from what you all had practiced all this while? And was it helpful? How did you all feel though? Feeling relaxed. Mind got relaxed. Calmness. Yeah. Thank you for your answer. So there is this very, yes, sir. Yes, it's very refreshing, and then it instantly gives you those relaxed mode. So now since we are all in a lockdown and our traveling or moving out is very restricted, and then all these things at times get us very worried, tension, irritable that we can't move out. But there is one exercise called visualization activity. So this is nothing but an imagination activity. So do you want to try this out and see how it goes? Yes. So for this also, you just have to, make yourself comfortable, sit comfortably. And once you're seated comfortably and relaxed, just text on the chat box, yeah? And I'll continue. Okay. I assume everyone is comfortable, yeah. So take a few deep breaths, inhale and exhale. Inhale Exhale. Now slowly close your eyes and gently focus your mind to a calming image. And this image can be of your favorite space or a place where you always feel relaxed. Imagine yourself in a sea beach. Imagine that you're walking on a white sandy beach and walking towards the waters. And as you walk towards the sea, feel very safe and calm and walk as you used to walk when you're relaxed. Now, since you have reached the shore, look at the sea water, how clean it is. Slowly move your eyes towards the sky and look at the clear blue sky with the beautiful clouds. Try listening to the sound of the waves as the tide gently rolls in towards you. Feel your feet sinking in the sand as the water hits your feet, and as the water recedes back, feel the calmness and the chillness in your feet. Let this tide touch you for a while and recede back. And as the tide and the water leaves you back, let it take away all your worries, all your tension, all your disturbing thoughts, all one by one. And as you stand there, looking at the sea, try to relax your face. Let go of any tension which is there in your forehead. Relax your forehead, your eyebrows, your neck, and your throat. And continue breathing, allowing your breath to match with the waves of the water that touches your feet. Inhale as it touches your feet and exhale as it leaves you. Once you feel relaxed, imagine yourself slowly walking away from the beach. Remember that this is a beautiful place and this is here for you. And whenever you want, you can come back to this beautiful beach. Now gently get back your attention to the space where you are seated. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And with my count of 5, gently open your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have we come back from the beach? Yes. So how was your beach experience? How did you feel going to your favorite beach? Did you feel the amazing wind, the chilled water touching you, leaving you? Yes. Was it too sunny? Was it too sunny or was it too windy there? How was it? So likewise, like whenever you are stressed and you want to, okay, enjoy the vitamin D. Yes, great, great. So whenever you feel very overwhelmed or think like, oh God, we can't even step out of the house, you can, always have this time for yourself where you can visualize a place where you actually feel safe. Or if someone is a mountain person or someone is a person who likes to, explore, so they can, you all can try with visualizing mountains, sea beach, garden. So there are many ways which you can visualize your safe place and feel good about, you know, and let your senses feel good. So these are the relaxation techniques. And then you can also, like when you feel too stressed, like few said that they go and take a bath. So you can, take a bath, wash your face, go for a walk, or talk to your loved ones, or eat something that makes you feel good or which soothes your senses. So these are the relaxation techniques which you can use, like when you are stressed or feeling too overwhelmed because of your exams. So let me ask you a question. Have anyone heard about this grounding technique? Like, what is it? Is it something where we have to go to the ground to play some games or something? What is grounding? Okay. So grounding technique is nothing but like when we feel too distracted or we think that we're not being able to concentrate in a studies in a subject. So what we can do is, instead of forcing ourselves to, uh, you know, concentrate at the moment, what we can do is we can pause for a moment, we can try out this activity and then get our attention back to what we wanted to study. So we can do this by a stepwise method, like trying to notice like five things which you see, like doing a little thing like your phone maybe, or your laptop, your pen stand, your books. So in this way you can notice these five things which you can see, and then after doing this you can try listening to the five voices or notice the five things which you can listen. So once you have done this by step, your mind is channeled to get back your attention to the small things. And once you have done this, you are able to be in a better place to even focus and concentrate in your studies. So when you feel distracted or you feel that you're not being able to concentrate in your studies, you can always try out this technique. Yeah. Okay. So what is this change your words or change your mindset? Have we ever tried on ourselves? Has anyone tried to change their words by changing the mindset? Okay, so like each and every one of us have a dream and which we all want to achieve and we all want to live that dream. But at times it's ourselves which tries to stop us from achieving those dreams for a momentary basis. And this happens when the thoughts in the mind is which tries to demotivate us, saying that we are not worthy enough to even dream like that, or because we are not being able to understand. These are the sentences which we keep saying us, or it keeps communicating to our brain, and we start believing them and not trying to counter them, or we're not trying to even look for evidences whether it's true or not. So whenever we come across such sentences which doesn't encourage us or which doesn't motivate us, we can always try to counteract them by asking questions which will actually help us to look beyond those sentences and to prove those sentences wrong. Like, if your brain says I don't understand, you can answer to your brain saying that what am I missing in it, or is it something which I need to give more time or give more attention to. So in this way, when we try to help our own self, we'll be able to move a step forward to our dreams. So how many of us have this procrastination tendency? Yes, it's a good affirmation. True. How many of us have found ourselves procrastinating? So we procrastinate because at times when we are too anxious, or when we don't like the subject, where we are not being able to connect with the subject, or when we think that, okay, maybe I'll not be able to pass, or maybe I'll not be able to get a good mark. So why should we study now? I'll study later, or sometime later when I feel good. Yes, so it is it's a common practice, but there are times where we have genuine reasons to procrastinate. So I'm not saying that procrastination is really bad, but when we know or when we realize that procrastination, we are pushing ourselves to a procrastination, we can always try to prevent that tendency. And how do we prevent those procrastination? Has anyone tried out any ways or means to prevent procrastination, since we all procrastinate? No one? Okay. So if we want to reduce the tendency of procrastination, what we can do is, yes, yeah, that is one of the task which we can do to prevent procrastination. And just making a timetable and not following will not serve a purpose. So we need to make a timetable and be very determined to follow a timetable, so that at the end of the day we know that we have done what is required to be done for the day. So we can list out things which needs to be done, and then out of those lists we have to see that which is like very very important to us, or which requires more time. So we take up that task, then we set a goal and a time of when we should do that task. And then once we have completed that, we always forget to reward ourselves or make ourselves or pat our own back for achieving or accomplishing something which we have set aside for us. So once we have done all this, we also need to remind ourselves that our body needs, like everyone needs or likes to be rewarded or surprises. So you can surprise your body by having a favorite snacks, or listening to your favorite song, or taking a short break. So in this way what happens is, even though we have this tendency of procrastination and we don't really like being in a timetable schedule, so having things which our brain don't like, and then once we have done that and giving ourselves a reward, will keep our activities going, and it will also reduce a procrastination tendency. So remember, whenever you're setting a timetable for yourself or trying to deal with procrastination, at the end of the day, try to treat yourself. I guess this is very common, which most of us have seen or heard about it. So do we even follow this time management and prioritization? Have we seen this matrix before? Is there anyone in the room who has seen this matrix before? Okay. So if you have not seen it, or if you have just seen it and not known about it, so here it goes. So at times, we get too overwhelmed thinking that, "Arey yaar, there is so many things to do today," and then we don't know which work to do, or we don't know which work to even procrastinate, or which work to just leave out or chuck it out. So what we can do is we can just see, okay, Rithi has said, I have heard what's in the yellow box. Okay. So yeah, so when you see that you have a lot of tasks there with you in hand and you don't really know which one to address first. So what you can do is you see that whether it falls in the red box or the yellow box, or is it in the blue box or in the gray box. So if it is a very, very urgent work and it is important and no one except you can do it right away. Like studying for the exams, no one else can study for your exams, yeah? So you need to do it for yourself. So that is a red box. When it comes to a yellow box, it's something which is not really urgent right now, but it is still important. Like for example, if you have an exam next month, so that is not an urgency right now, so you can do it later, or you can schedule your timetable so that you have enough time to prepare for that not urgent exam. And then you can delegate those tasks, which is, yes. Oh, that's great, that really helps. And then if you think that the task which is at hand is really urgent but not really important, or doesn't require only you to do it, but you can still ask someone to do it for you, then you can delegate those tasks. And there are certain times the task which is not really urgent or not important, like you know it's not really urgent or important to finish up your series or finish up watching a movie, so you can eliminate that for the timing. So this is how you can manage your time and prioritize what needs to be done. So whenever you feel like too much overburdened or overwhelmed as to what all you need to do, you can try out this 4 colors. So in this time management, this is nothing but, most of us are here who are a morning person, most of us might be a night person. So we need to realize, or we need to be aware of what kind of, what is our concentration hotspot? Like what is the time where we feel really motivated to study, or we are uh, our distraction level is very less. When is the time? So once we fix that time, or once we are aware that a time of a hotspot of a productivity, we have to keep all our distraction aside and try to divert all our attention and gather all our attention and study for that time. And once you're done studying, like I said, you can do the other task later. But first, you try to identify what is your concentration hotspot and try to study, especially on those times. So, there is this study technique called Pomodoro technique. Has anyone tried this out, or has anyone heard about this? Students, have you all heard about this technique called Pomodoro technique? The sound, it might sound very foreign, but okay. Since you have heard it, have you tried it out for yourself? Malaika? Okay. Yes. So this technique is like very simple technique. You just need to identify what you need to study for the day, and then you have to keep a timer or an alarm for 25 minutes. And in those 25 minutes, you just study. Yeah, you just study and keep your phone aside. If you want, you can even latch your door, or sit in a place where you won't be disturbed, and just study for the time. And once those timer is up, you take a break of 5 minutes, and after the 5 minutes, go back to the same routine of 25 minutes study. And once you have done this for 4 times, you can give yourself a longer break, or maybe of a 30 minutes, or go for a walk, or you know eat something, or go dance your heart out. So you can, if once you do this, you are being able to balance your stress, your concentration, where because when you study you put all your concentration there, your mind, your brain is really active that time. So you need to balance that active mind with something which is relaxing and soothing to you. So you can try this technique called Pomodoro technique, especially before exams and during exams. So this is the learning style. Like, how many of you know what is your learning style and what you're very comfortable with? Is it the physical or visual? Do we like to highlight and make diagrams and study? Or do we like to listen to uh, audio tapes, or instructions given through audio? Or is there someone who would like to study all alone, self-study, or try to explain to themselves? Diverse. Wow, that's great. Is there anyone in the group who would like to study with, group, do a group study, or try to teach others? Self study. Have you, okay, self study. Oh, there's group study. Want to study all alone? Yes. Is there anyone who has study while listening radio? Okay. So is that study while listening radio, especially during, solving maths, or doing some solving things? I make diagrams and study. Yes. So have we tried out different styles? So these are various learning styles which are there. And once, during a free time, or not really during exams, but before, ahead of exams, if we try and experiment with the other learning style and see whether that helps us better to learn. So we can always give ourselves those chance to explore on a learning style. For me, what works best is solitary, like studying alone. At social doesn't work at all for me because I get too distracted. At times it is visual, like drawing maps and diagrams. So always, keep yourself open to exploring new learning styles, so that even we know that, there is not just one learning style which we need to have, but we can also have various learning styles for various subject matter. So now we have come to the finale. Like, for whatever we have done this workshop for, it was all for this day. It was a grand day. So what do we do on exams day? Like, how do we prepare ourselves? We have we have looked into the things which stresses us before exams or regarding exams. But on the day of exams, how do we try to help ourselves, or how do we deal with ourselves? So what we can do is, like, before exam, like for example, if you have an exam tomorrow, and on the day of exam, you can't expect yourself to be running around here and there looking for your essentials like pencil, pen, or your geometry box. So we need to always try to keep ourselves prepared beforehand, so that on the day of exam, where our mind is anyway very worried about how we'll write the exams, will we be able to write our exams properly or not, to avoid all these things, we can keep ourselves prepared by keeping all these essentials beforehand with us, so that on the day of exams we don't have to worry about this. And breakfasts are like really really important to us, so we should not forget, or we should not try to overlook that, okay, today's exams, I'm too anxious, I'm not being able to focus in my study, I can't eat, I don't want to eat. We should not do that. Rather, what we can do, we can have a light breakfast but a good one. Or we should not try to binge it that time, because during writing exams we would not want to run to the washroom 100 times and lose out on time. And before sitting for exams, we should always go to the visit the washroom and keep ourselves prepared so that our body doesn't want to rush to the washroom. And if you like, this is a very common thing which we always feel, like even before writing exams, we feel very worried. Our thoughts run here and there in all directions, like it runs from one chapter to another, it runs from one formula to another. So in order to calm our mind, we can practice the breathing exercise which we have done for the relaxation technique. Then if once we have calmed down and relaxed and focused on our breathing, and once the exam paper are distributed, we need to read the question paper very carefully, because at times teachers try to trick us by questioning in a very tricky manner. So try to read the question paper very well and underline the key words, as in what is it that the teacher actually wants from you. So once you have read the question paper thoroughly and understood what it is needed, try to schedule time, like what time you need to allocate for your 5 marks answer, or a 10 marks answer, or a 15 marks answer. So once you're done that, make sure you have kept an extra 5 minutes with yourself, so that many times while we write exams, we write like very fast, and at times we jump from one word to another. So when we have those extra 5 minutes with us before submitting the paper, we can just revise, go through the paper and see whether we have written everything correctly, or whether we have missed out any points or not. And then also highlighting your answers, like what is the main point or the subheadings, will really fetch you a good marks. So, and yeah, so when you get the question paper, before writing the paper, it is always good to start off writing or answering the answers, questions to which we are very comfortable and which we are very confident about, so that when it comes to that, we write those answers very fast. But when we start with a question which we are not really comfortable about, or which we are not very confident about, it takes a lot of time. And we are not in a position where we can spare too much of time in the beginning of the exam. So keep those difficult questions for the last. So with this, we come to the end of this workshop, and I hope we had a good session. So how was it? How was the session for y'all? And yeah, if y'all have any questions, you can raise it up on the chat box. And looking forward for your feedback about the session. Okay, we know bad stress corrupts our energy, and we try to run away from the stress. So how can we turn the bad stress to good stress? Okay. Let me go back to the question again. Okay, so your question was how to turn the bad stress into a good stress. Yeah. So what you can do is first identify the stress as to what causes your stress, and then see like what in it causes you stress. For example, if I'm, like I said, like I didn't like maths during my school days. So it's not that like I didn't like the whole subject. It's not that the whole chapter or the whole syllabus was not to my comfort level, but there are some things which I was good at. So trying to explore that what is the thing which you can work on yourself to deal with the stress. And if it's still not helping, try to reach out to people who could help you with the subject. Or is it with regard to stress, you can reach out to your faculties or your friends, or or take up courses online, or look for the possible means how you can simplify those stress for yourself. And once you have sorted that out or addressed that stress, and once you're confident about what stresses you or how you can deal with those stress will turn into your good stress. So one of the things which causes a stress and it becomes a bad stress is our when we start questioning ourselves, or when we start not believing on ourselves that we can do good, or when we think we don't have enough knowledge. So look for things which we can work on. We can always work on a knowledge. We can always work on a resources, or we can tap on a resources. So once we have done that, we can you can automatically see that you have done enough to to convert the bad stress to a good stress. So Savitri, does that answer to your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Thank you.
Yes. Candice, is there any more questions?
Yes.
Divya, can you help me with the questions because I'm not being able to see the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Or you can turn on, like you can unmute yourself. Is that okay for taking the questions, Divya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Deepika, we can do that. But we don't have any questions in the chat box.
Okay, okay.
Mm, Deepika, let's once share the Your Skill Dose video with them
Sure,
once so
sure.
they get an idea as to like what all is there, and then obviously we can come back to the question.
Okay, okay. So once we are done with the video, you can come up with the questions.
Please share the questions in the meanwhile while the video
Yeah,
is.
yeah, I'll take that up once the video is done.
Yes. Thank you, Deepika.
I'll stop sharing the thing.
Yes. So, hi guys, I'm Abhishek from Skilling India, and obviously, you guys just got to enjoy Deepika ma'am's wonderful session on exam stress management. And this is just one session which will help you guys like transition from where you are right now, like in your campus life, in your daily lives, to understand the stresses and the pressures that come with exams, and beyond that, even life in general, because you will go into careers and jobs where you will have deadlines, you will have to perform every day, and there's a lot of things that will come into play in your future life. So you would have learned some things from Deepika ma'am like Pomodoro techniques and other elements as well that you didn't know before this session, right? So those are the things that we are trying to explore here as Skilling India and Peak Mind, where we're trying to make sure that you guys learn and grow more and more in terms of what you should know about the world and how to succeed in all those. So this session, and there are over 200 sessions that are there which are going to help you and enable you to become that one person who every company will look at and say, I want that person. That's what we're trying to do at Your Skill Roast. So just sit back, relax, guys, and I'll just play a video. And if you have any questions after that, you can just share them with me in the chat. I'll be here.
Get distracted by thoughts like, I'm unsure about my future. I lack confidence. I can't make friends. I'm not clear about my career goals. I don't have a good personality. I can't communicate well with others. I won't be able to secure a job. Or sometimes we find ourselves stuck in a spiral of questions like, what do I want to become? And what is the right career choice for me? What suitable job roles are available after my degree? What are the skills that industries are looking for? How to select the right skilling programs and learning path? How to create a resume that stands out? How to prepare best to clear the interview? How to become an entrepreneur? What all skills should I learn to become successful? Or sometimes you feel you don't know what's the right question to ask for your future. A survey done on 30,000 Indian students revealed that 3 out of every 5 students feel they don't have the properly defined and necessary information to decide their career paths. Whereas 1 out of every 5 students feel there is too much information available and it is difficult to understand everything. These statistics reveal that students find it difficult to get on the right career path and feel lost in the pool of information. And that's where your skill dost comes in. We are committed to help you find the right questions for your holistic development and guide you in finding the answers as well. Your Skill Dost is an e-subscription program for understanding the right skills and learning path for holistic career development. These programs and workshops are designed by industry and subject matter experts from the field of marketing, management, sales, psychology, etc., and are available for all educational backgrounds, including MBA, BBA, BCom, BTech, and BE curriculums. Your Skill Dost has four main pillars. Growing your career revolves around four main categories: industry trends and career awareness sessions, employability skills, entrepreneurship and innovation, introduction to hard skills. Grow your communication revolves around two main categories: communication in everyday life and public speaking. Grow your personality workshops revolve around three major categories: strengths and weaknesses, assess and develop, leadership skills, personality development. Grow Your Aptitude revolves around four major categories: verbal aptitude for competitive exams, quantitative aptitude for competitive exams, critical thinking, and problem solving. In Growing Your Career Workshop series, you will have workshops like stock market basics, finance basics, fundraising and valuation, industry trends and career awareness workshops, and many more. In Growing Your Communication Workshop series, you will have workshops like conflict management, corporate ethics, non-verbal communication, essential skills of public speaking, etc. In Growing Your Personality Workshop series, you will have workshops like personal branding, goal setting, flexibility and adaptability, staying positive in the face of adversities, and other workshops as well. Lastly, in Growing Your Aptitude Workshop series, you will have workshops like data interpretation, avoiding analysis paralysis, defining creativity, recognizing your strengths and opportunities, etc. Moreover, topics for different workshops will keep on adding to keep the learners updated. You can choose different workshops as per your interest. These workshops will be virtual instructor led, and learners can get the recorded sessions of previous workshops as well. We provide packages of different durations: monthly, quarterly, half yearly, or yearly, so that you can choose the one that suits the best. And the best part is, you can get the entire program of 200 plus live workshops all for one entry fee. Learners have found the workshops insightful and provided us with amazing feedback, and we want to share the same with you all. So, hurry up and sign up for your Skill Dose program to upskill yourself and get the dream career you've been looking for. You can subscribe and try the program with 100% money back guarantee. To know more about us, visit learn.skillingindia.in.
So everyone, so that's just a small snippet of everything that is going on at Skilling India at the moment. Similar to what session we had right now, we are enabling you guys in understanding how best you can become workplace professionals in everything. So what the discovery of this was basically on is that like a lot of things that colleges are doing, schools are doing, those are wonderful things, but there's an entire life that will be there after this session as well, and after this campus life as well. So how you prep for it, how you understand it, how you know about it. So we'll have guest speakers from across the industry, we'll have industry experts coming in and giving you a lot of tips and tricks on how to become a workplace professional. So those will help you guys a lot in understanding what is going on in the world right now and how to become good at your work. So I'll be sharing the links in the meanwhile. Over to you, Deepika, and we'll start off the Q&A again. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. So there's a question on like your happiness is hidden in your mind and no external factors sustain happiness. Is that true? So what happiness is, it is all about, what we feel or how we feel. And in order to feel in a specific way, we need to, you know, we need to see that what triggers our happiness or what is the thing that makes us happy, and to and what and how we can sustain that. So I guess we can feel happy or we can be happy once we are content with what we have. And yeah, so there are, and when we think and when we feel that there are something which restricts the happiness or doesn't enable us to feel happy, we all can always reflect to the things that what makes us unhappy about certain things or to certain natural things, and then try to explore like why is it that you are not being able to feel happy. Is it because you're comparing yourself with others? Is it because you're demoralizing yourself, or is it because of your self-esteem? So exploring on those things will always help you to embrace the happiness and be content with what you have. So does that answer to your question, sir? Okay. There was a question on how to improve handwriting skills. So what in it did you wanted to know specifically? If if that could be specific, I can take up the question. Is there any more questions or any queries regarding exam and exam stress? So all of us know it very well now, that how to deal with exam and exam stress. Okay. Abhishek, we don't have much questions, so I think we can move ahead. Since we don't have any questions, thank you, Basin College, for being an amazing audience and for having us. It was a great time, interacting with
Hello.
you all.
Hello. Hello.
Your voice is breaking.
Okay, thank you guys so much for attending this session. You've been a wonderful audience, and I'm sure you learned a lot from Deepika ma'am. So with this, we can close the session.